Good afternoon to you. Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com, here with your off-season edition of the Hurricane Outlook and Discussion. Continuing for Monday, April 13th, 2020. What a busy day it has been, a busy 48 hours in the world of weather. We're actually going to start the discussion off with the lower 48 weather first, because it has been a crazy couple of days, and this is the storm system responsible right here. Very, very well telegraphed. More than a week ago, different people picking this out. I mentioned this on Twitter a little while ago, that several folks saw this coming in the model guidance, the numeric weather prediction, as it's called, the NWP products, more than a week ago. It doesn't help everybody in terms of it doesn't completely eliminate loss of life or damage to property, but the fact that we can see this coming so far out in time, at least the setup for it, you don't get to see the particulars. You don't know that a tornado is going to hit Monroe, Louisiana, or Walterboro, South Carolina, as examples, a week out. But like with hurricanes, when we can track them coming off the coast of Africa days out, in some cases 2 weeks out, and we see where they might end up over in this area, at least it gives us a heads up as to what's coming. So I think that is remarkable and a great job by some of these budding meteorologists that I follow on social media, on Twitter, and eventually as it filtered down into the Storm Prediction Center and eventually the National Weather Service offices in their local areas, and the media that got the word out. A lot of people worked together to warn us, and it's still going on. I saw some video just a little while ago up here from Summers Point, New Jersey, of like a marina, like a dry dock marina area that got shredded, the parts of the boardwalk having wind issues and other things going on. This is a wild storm system, huge too, very, very large, encompassing a good deal of the eastern third or so of the United States, and you can see it reflected here on the watch warning map. All these areas in brown are generally wind advisories. You got storm warnings offshore. A few severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings still embedded in parts of the mid-Atlantic states. Lakeshore flooding, all kinds of problems. It's going to be a little bit cold behind it. You're going to have snow and other issues in parts of the upper peninsula of Michigan. Man, just a potent, potent spring storm. And I tell you what, when it shows up on the vorticity signature as looking like a big old comma, like that right there, there you go. Big time mid-latitude storm. When that mimics the satellite picture, that's pretty amazing. And you can see all of that energy in the atmosphere. This is meteorology for you right here. This is what's so fascinating about it. So this is what it looks like when you get a mid-latitude storm. And of course, down in the tropics, you get these big balls of vorticity that look like this. I'm just drawing it in. And those are your tropical cyclones, where the energy is focused and bundled around a much smaller relative area, but there's a lot more energy in that small area, and that's what makes tropical cyclones so deadly. Hurricanes, this energy spread out over a much larger area. Man, it's just fascinating. And unfortunately, it does cause loss of life and property damage, and we have to recognize that. Our passion for tracking this, it does come with a price, because that's no good. We hate to see people lose their lives to the weather when it can be so fascinating to track. It's kind of a double-edged sword there. All right, so let's move along to the tropical side of this. Hurricane season's coming now, less than 50 days away. So we're going to just look at a few of the puzzle pieces that we have seen gradually falling into place over the last several weeks and months. Those pieces are still falling and fitting very nicely to shape what looks like a very busy hurricane season ahead. That doesn't guarantee it, okay? Just like seeing the signs for this big weather setup, and here's my segue into how all of this is related. Very good transition, if I may say so myself. What does lower 48 weather have to do with hurricane season? Well, again, the ability to look at something a week out, like some of these folks were able to do, and see it in the model guidance, and then know that something like what we had yesterday, last night, and today, it was possible, and it obviously came to fruition. we can do a general same kind of thing with tropical weather if given the right tools. And we look at sea surface temperatures, departures from normal of those temperatures, El Nino Southern Oscillation phenomenon, and other factors, pressure anomalies, pressure patterns, moisture patterns, rainfall over Africa, all kinds of these different pieces of this big puzzle, and we're able to put these together and at least get a fuzzy picture, because again, it's never clear. It's never clear 100%. There's gonna be another hurricane so-and-so, guaranteed. Can't do that this far out, but it does look like in the longer range, months out, just like this weather event that we have just gone through, still going through, was well telegraphed a week out. We can do the same thing, generally speaking, with tropical weather. So that being said, I did want to show you this, sorry. So here's the, I forgot I had this. This is the storm system pretty much right now. There it is, nice and wrapped up. I just want to show you that the next week or so, generally quiet as we go through time here. This is 48 hours out. Kind of cold, maybe some wet snow in parts of the foothills here and east of the Appalachians as we go towards Wednesday morning. Going to be kind of cold in the Piedmont and foothill areas Wednesday morning, but no severe weather of any magnitude coming up for a few days. That's the good part of this. Just a kind of a chilly pattern after this storm moves out, but maybe some severe weather there towards Friday in parts of northwest Missouri as a little storm system moves through. That slides offshore. But the main thing here is going out about a week. There's day 6 right there. Watch what happens. The high right there scoots offshore, 1021 millibar surface high. Let me draw the isobars myself. That return flow coming around it. There you go. More moisture and another low pressure area. This is about a week out or so, a little less than a week out. But that type of pattern. Pretty good Bermuda high. Return flow, going to be warm and muggy. The Gulf of Mexico warmer than average by about 2 Celsius. Yes, another potential severe weather setup and heavy rain event in about a week. You see that slides across the deep south. That's hour 162, so it's a week from today. And then it goes across some of the same areas that we saw severe weather last night and today, yesterday through today. So just something to watch for a week from now. So let's see. Not the same dynamics, but what I'm concerned about is all of this moisture, and lots of it there, getting deposited over this river basin area through mainly the Mississippi basin and its tributaries, including the Atchafalaya, and I finally figured out how to say that thanks to my friend Rob Perillo. I thought it was always Atchafalaya, but it's not. It's Atchafalaya or something like that. Anyway, this is a lot of moisture, and it's going to be raining, pretty heavy rain, it looks like, over that watershed area, and the flooding in the deep south could become a huge issue. It is already in some areas. We got to really watch this because we got enough going on, and they're going to, the spillway is opened up down here. We're going to be draining more into the Gulf of Mexico. That could cause some more bacterial issues for the coast of Mississippi. I'm not an expert in that. I've just been reading about it. Okay, I'm bringing you. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but we have to be aware of this. Okay, we can't just ignore it. Oh, it's not happening. I'm going to ignore it. It's not there. I did that with my health for a lot of years. I got very overweight, let my blood pressure get out of control, and it darn near killed me. That's what happens when you ignore something. Oh, it'll just take care of itself. I'll just magically lose 50 pounds and my blood pressure will go down. No, it doesn't work that way. And so it almost killed me. And it's true, folks. Your health and the weather and how we treat each entity are very, very similar. We do the same with our health. And we ignore the weather. You don't want to hear bad news about the weather. Well, there's too much going on. I don't want to hear about that. Well, you got to, because there are things we can do to mitigate, lessen the damage, lessen the impacts of the weather, just like we can do with our health. And what didn't kill me made me stronger, and now I did lose 50 pounds, and I do take better care of myself because I listen to my doctor. But that's a story for another day. but it is connected. All right, we got to not ignore. We have to acknowledge, not ignore. We live in a dynamic, on a dynamic planet, and the weather is sometimes going to turn against us, even though it's not really like that. The weather is not for or against anything. It just is, and we happen to be here in its way. All right, now on to tropical stuff, and it's all related, so thanks for bearing with me. But this is what you come here for mostly, is hurricane information, so here you go. That is a picture that paints a potential of a busy season. There's just no way around it. This very warm Atlantic anomaly pattern, the sea surface temperatures compared to average, this is really showing up as a strong signal of a busy hurricane season. The main development region really warming up, Gulf of Mexico warmer than average, Caribbean warmer than average, and it doesn't look like it's going to change. The modeling is indicating this will hold and maybe even become stronger. These anomalies would be even stronger than they are now. And at the same time, we're going to be dropping the sea surface temperatures across this area gradually as subsurface cold water, truly cold water, becomes upwelled, as it's called, where it comes up from below, reaches the surface. The trade winds will help to mix it and spread it out, and we're going to develop a cool neutral to La Nina pattern across the Pacific. This is the main development region. Look at that, the MDR area from Levi's site, Tropical Tidbits. This is the highest that I have seen it in a long time. I'd have to go back. But 0.54 degrees Celsius above the long-term average across the main development region, that's getting it. I'd have to go back and look what was 2017, what was 05, some of your big seasons. You don't want to start comparing too much because the seasons are never going to be identical. But this is a very, very strong signal. And again, we cannot ignore that. And so I'm going to show you what we can do about it in just a moment. I'm not just going to tell you, quote, bad news and to just leave you hanging. No, that wouldn't be right. We're going to get through this. I'm going to show you what you can do about it. Put your anxiousness to use. Just to check some of the climate models regarding the state of El Nino Southern Oscillation. Again, this is the CFS we'll take a look at. And it's indicating a pretty dramatic drop into La Nina territory. No doubt about it, at least according to this model. And the Bureau of Meteorology from Australia, that modeling also indicating, and this has become more robust as well in recent days and weeks, eventually reaching negative 0.8 Celsius. That's their threshold, is 0.8 for either negative for La Nina, positive for El Nino. The Bureau of Meteorology down in Australia. The U.S. Climate Prediction Center says roughly 0.5. So this would get below the zero mark. Not below zero, it's just an index anomaly, and then head towards that magic 0.8 right there by the peak of hurricane season. Lovely. So it looks like, again, the signals are there for a very strong hurricane season ahead. Now, what can you do about that? All right, so here's what I want you to always remember. You have a lot of say-so in what happens. All right, I am just telling you what I'm looking at. If there was no YouTube, which there wasn't, a long time ago when we had very, very busy seasons, 04, 05, well, there was YouTube, but not like we have it now. There wasn't the social media that we have. I did this same stuff. I looked at these things. I talked with my colleagues about it instead of thousands of people a week like you guys. When you look at the views we get a few thousand a week, especially during hurricane season. And in some cases, it can be tens of thousands of people watching. So this is a different world than we had 16 years ago in terms of the reach. But my methodology is the same. I would look at the exact same stuff with or without you guys. I just have you that want this information too to absorb it. So what do you do about it? Well, you have to be educated, first of all, on what to expect. And that's what we're doing here. Trying to set up, hey, look, the signals are there for a strong hurricane season. Just like if I were your medical doctor and you came in for a checkup, of course, with COVID-19, it would be a telemedicine checkup. Cannot wait for this thing to go away. It's so annoying. Tiny, stupid little virus. And I still haven't figured out why we even have viruses. If I could live to be 300 years old, I think I said this once before, and if I didn't, I'm saying it now, I would go get a PhD in microbiology or evolutionary biology and try to figure it out, because what the heck. But anyhow, I digress. If I were your doctor and I said, hey, Joe or whoever, your blood pressure is going up, you're a little overweight, let's do something about it, I wouldn't just tell you these things and make you feel bad, and you just leave the doctor like, ugh, I feel horrible about myself. And, what can I do about it? Well, you can eat better, cut down on your sodium, exercise, eat less fast food, whatever. The doctor would give you advice on ways, wait for it, to mitigate. There's that word. And we're hearing mitigation a lot with this coronavirus pandemic. That word, exponential growth, mathematics, you name it. It's nice to be able to smile for once about all of this. We are learning stuff. And that word, mitigation, lessening the impacts over time. Instead of a big impact all of a sudden, like what happened to me in December of 2018, like I said, for many years I ignored it. And I had an aortic dissection. My heart valve, not the valve, it's like a pipe. It's the aorta, biggest blood vessel in your body. It started to separate from all the high blood pressure, and I almost died. That is not mitigating the situation. That's an emergency situation, and I was forced to change or I die. Same thing with the weather here. We have time. We still have 50 days until hurricane season. All right, I know I'm dragging this out, but this is important because a lot of people, I say a lot, you're going to hear more and more about a busy hurricane season, a dangerous hurricane season. Hurricanes are always dangerous. Why are they going to be any more dangerous this year? They're not. The only difference is we're in the midst of a pandemic today. Maybe we'll be easing out of that in June. I don't know. So instead of just throwing all of this doom and gloom at you, we talk about the science, we talk about what we're seeing, but then let's address what can you do about it. All right, I want to be positive here because back to my point, there are things you can do. Educate yourself. What are hurricanes all about? We're working on that. We're doing this Hurricane U series where we interview different experts, almost like a guest lecture series focused on very specific aspects. I'll talk about that before we're done today. Resources like what I have here in the background. Get rid of me. Maybe go away. Hurricane Preparedness, this is last year, but this will get updated. The Hurricane Center site, weather.gov, and you just go to the National Hurricane Center homepage, okay? It's right there on the homepage, educational resources, be prepared, right there at the top, and there you go. So, maybe you're brand new to the coast. What do I do? Mark, you're telling me it's going to be a high-impact hurricane season potentially. Well, what the heck am I supposed to do? Well, here it's laid out. Learning about safety, learning about hazards, different videos that they've got. There are a lot of resources out there. Please take advantage of them and learn what you need to do to get ready. Address your insurance issues now. A lot of people are without jobs. What do I do about preparing? Slowly start stockpiling water now. Don't go out to the big box stores, Walmart, Target, wherever, Publix, you name it, and buy 100 gallons of water. They're probably not going to let you. But, if you even need water, a lot of people have a tap, but if the water system fails and you do have to store water, either get water or get the containers. You can do that now, and it's only a few dollars every couple of weeks or so between now and hurricane season. And the peak of the season is not until August and September. So we have time. If you have a generator, make sure that thing's running properly. If you've used it recently, you bought it, you never figured out how to use it, you're at home, you got a lot of time, learn how to do it now. Go on the web, look up stuff on YouTube, okay? Use this time instead of being afraid, oh God, hurricane season's coming, it's going to be terrible. Well, say, you know what, hurricane season's coming. Mark says it could be busy, might have more activity than normal. I think I'll take this time to make sure I'm ready. And that is different for everybody out there. What is ready for me is different than what is ready for you. So just think positive, all right? Come on, use the common sense we've all got and don't go freaking out, all right? That is the important thing here to remember. And we're going to help you with that. This Hurricane U series, I've already got 2 broadcasts in the can. They're both on my YouTube channel. I talked with my good friend Ryan Rickert and Stanley Goldenberg as we discussed hurricane tracking, hurricanes in general, tropical cyclones, why we have them. Both fascinating conversations already. This week, Wednesday, coming up, Ben Knoll from Ben Knoll Weather. You know him. I talk about him a lot. The man himself from New Zealand. It'll be 8 a.m. New Zealand time when he joins me. This Wednesday, 4 p.m. Eastern time in the United States. I mean, where else? 8 a.m. New Zealand time. Ben Knoll will be joining me, and we're going to talk specifically about long-range forecasting, teleconnections, Madden-Julian oscillation. What is upward motion? All of that in about an hour's time. You don't want to miss this. I think you're really going to learn a lot from it. And again, it helps to expand your mind because at the end of the day, I want you to be hurricane experts as well, or at least as close to it as possible. I think we are all virus experts and exponential growth experts by now, by default, right? And so let's learn what we can about hurricanes, and we're going to do that through Hurricane U. That is coming up this Wednesday. The next episode broadcast live on my YouTube channel. I'll post the link. You can join in, and it'll be very, very intriguing as we talk with Ben Knoll from New Zealand. All right? So there you go. Monday is always a busy day with what we look at in terms of the length of these broadcasts here that I do, or this recording. We cover a lot. I appreciate your support. We are supported by patrons on Patreon. I mention that from time to time. We're going to be doing a lot more with Patreon going forward. Our crowdfunding, very, very important in our operations, what we're doing, but also the crowdsourcing of people's ideas and information. I'll talk about that more in the weeks ahead. I'll just give you a hint. We are going to be expanding and doing some amazing things this year beyond anything you've seen over the past 6 years. You'll see. Once we get to mid-May or so, I'll have a little special update about exactly what we're going to be doing going forward. But thanks to our patrons, we are going to be able to do more than we ever have in the history of my career, my group, the people that help me out. Oh my gosh, what we're going to be able to do this year, our capabilities, that's why we need this corona thing to just go bye-bye so that we can focus on hurricanes. If they come, we are going to be ready like you have never seen before. It's absolutely going to, I don't want to say revolutionize things, because we've done a pretty good job of that so far, but a re-revolutionization. There you go. I made up my own word. It is. That's what we're going to do. We're going to reinvent revolutionizing hurricane coverage. You shall see. And we're going to do it in a way that is educational and informative and not scare the heck out of you. Because if you're scared, that's no good. We want to make sure you're informed. Anyway, we've already been over all that. And it shows I care about you. All right. You guys have a great rest of your week. As always, I appreciate you tuning in. Don't forget Wednesday, though, I'll be back 4 p.m. Eastern Time for Hurricane U. I am Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing to the channel and all of that. I'll see you again live on Wednesday with Ben Knoll.